Hello everybody, it's Calxiyn here. So today we are going to be looking at these screenshots from this thread from Cage Insider, the making of Kingdom Hearts 3 and Union Cross. So, I'm not affiliated with Cage Insider, by the way. It's just, this is where the news has come from. So if you guys enjoyed this video, remember that you guys should become patrons over on Patreon or join our Discord server. So we're going to be covering these screenshots in depth, as much depth as we can give them. And, yeah, we're just going to talk about that. So let's go over. So this is a picture of what looks to be a Mickey medal, something that will probably be released if it's not already, so there's not too much to say about that. This is obviously the Record Keeper Final Fantasy sort of thing that we talked about, or I guess that we will talk about. Cage Insider has an entire other thread on that, and so we will get to that eventually, but there is a screenshot from it. This is, I suppose, a continuation of what we had seen before, but this also looks like it is almost like a phone version of the Gummy Ship mission, so that looks interesting. This is obviously, again, announcing the Record Keeper and Union Cross crossover, and there you go. There's another screenshot of that. I have no idea who that is. I'll be honest, I've never played Final Fantasy before, so I don't exactly know who this is or what this means, but it looks interesting. It should be fun for the people that still play Union Cross. So this is obviously, again, the customization screen for these characters. You can see that you may get little sprites along with your actual, your actual character clothes. So that looks like that is something that is going to be implemented into the game. It is a stark contrast to like the rest of the game design, but I'm sure it's okay. Over here, you seem to have some sort of Heartless. This is another Union Cross thing, it seems, and this, to me, reads as a Dumbo or Pinocchio-esque sort of thing that is going on, or just, I guess, a boss in general. It could be a raid boss in general, because you can see the scale of us compared to that, and so usually that's sort of how the raids look, but it reminds me of Dumbo, that's all I can say, like the circus and everything. And Nomura did say in another interview that I want to talk about this week that Union Cross will be getting worlds that have never been seen in Kingdom Hearts before, and so this just may be one of them. So obviously you have people designing this stuff again. If this stuff is already in the game, like, forgive me, but again, I don't actively play the game, and so I wouldn't recognize some of these boss types. I recognize these little shadow things from the missions when I was still around. Obviously you have people working here. Again, another version of this Heartless. It does look like it is supposed to be in a raid boss type situation, so that sounds cool. These are obviously the Dream Eater little, like, helpers, I guess you could say, that they're supposed to be in your party with you and love you and care deeply about you. Like, that's all that I kind of got from them, and so you can see sort of the concepts for that, some of the different colors, and all that stuff, and you can see, obviously, the palette here, so this color aligns with this one, this palette for these ones, and, you know, it sort of just keeps going, so that's pretty interesting. This is Starlitzia. You can kind of see, I guess, the layer right here on her hair. She did not last that long. Poor baby. So these are, okay, so this is really what I wanted to talk about. We'll zoom in a little. All of these designs for Starlitzia are awful. Like, I don't mean that they're awful, like, they're just very generic, and you can kind of see that, like, they toyed around with her being blonde, and so they made, like, 8 blonde Starlitzia concepts, right? And you can obviously see the other foretellers and what would sort of work with the other foretellers before Marluxia, you know, kicked it. But, like, all of these are not, like, that unique to me, and so I'm surprised that they even toyed around with having any of these be her. But that's just my opinion. I think the most unique looking one, really, like, if we had to go there, maybe this one, because they are in some sort of... I like their hair. It's different than all the other ones, or even this hairstyle, but, like, I don't know. I'm happy with what we got, because all of these... Not a fan. Anyways... You can kind of see the same picture right here. Starlitzia, again, compared to the fountain that they put her in, so you guys can kind of see how they're layering the game and everything like that. This is obviously from Dwarf's Woodlands. This is Agrabah, but again, you can kind of see that this seems to be in Photoshop or something, and they're, you know, they're doing their thing. I think this is interesting, too, especially for people that are aspiring game designers to kind of see, like, here's the background, this is everything we're using, even though it's in Japanese. This is the layer, like all of that sort of stuff that's interesting for me. I'm gonna zoom out a little though, just so we can see everything a bit more clearly. This is obviously Daybreak Town. Again, the thing with the fountain, you can kind of see what's enabled on this side. I don't know anything about Photoshop, so I can't really say. Then I guess this is a concept for it, a more rougher design. You know, you can see sort of like, it almost looks like a, more cartoony and like patchwork almost, because you can kind of see this window here as like different patches on it, and you can kind of see people in the square for, I guess, this is more of a concept because it does obviously look better in the actual game, and you can see this thing over here is barely drawn, not even colored in, so there's that. Again, same thing, but on a different screen. Okay, so this is where things actually get interesting. This is more of the Kingdom Hearts 3 stuff. So obviously you have Rapunzel over here, very similar to the scene from the movie. It looks great. What was I going to say? You have these NPCs here. You kind of have writing here, but I can't really tell what that is. But now we can see that you are going to have NPCs in the worlds. No more empty worlds. This is probably like the best news that we've gotten. You see Sora around in the kingdom. I wonder how many of these people you can talk to and will have unique lines, and how many will ignore you, like if they'll have a personality set, sort of like bad comparison, but Animal Crossing, how you have the grumpy villager and like the cutesy villager. Like, it would be interesting if they all sort of had, or even if you took lines like from the movie directly, you know what I mean? Like the people talking and laughing and took that stuff and just inserted it here. I don't see why that would be so much of an issue. Obviously, you have Sora running past a couple people here. Some of these people you can't actually recognize from the movie, or at least I do, so I think that's really good of them. And you have Rapunzel and her parents, the sculpture over here. It looks beautiful. So this was announced, kind of, so it was supposed to be that Nomura wants to incorporate this Giant Land minigame, but I have no idea how this is gonna work at all, and I don't know what this would even be for. Not that I'm not a fan of the idea. I'd kind of like to watch the short in a different video and kind of go over whether this is fitting or not, but it's just a weird little addition, but I don't mind minigames. It's inevitable and it's okay. Like, it looks interesting enough. So there's that. Again, there is another screenshot of that, so it looks like that you have to sort of get by here without being caught, sort of thing. Sorry. I don't know why I have all this stuff in my throat all of a sudden, but this is a bad video to have that happen. So obviously, you have Rapunzel right here. You can see how her hair is sort of being rendered in this blank space, if you want to call it that. This is probably to test out her hair, and I'll read the article and cover that later, where they kind of talked about the struggle with her hair, and so you kind of see how much she has and then how much is supposed to be trailing behind. Obviously, they couldn't do like the 60 feet from the movie. Here you have a Toy Story cutscene. You can see really how good they have gotten the Sora is a toy and Goofy is a toy. Especially Goofy's nose here is just like, it's great. And then you have Donald, of course. And so this is another screenshot. You can kind of see there's all these files over here on this computer, and it looks like they're checking out the part of the environment. This looks like it's the Piggy from the movie, and two of the little aliens. But I can't really make out anything else. Obviously, another rendering of Rapunzel. It looks like more when she's in the tower, but I guess that we'll have to see, because I want to do a separate video on how they're gonna do the tower plot, just because Rapunzel does get her hair cut off at the end, so that may be a little problematic, but we'll get to that. So yeah, you can see sort of how she's being rendered. This is obviously the inside of the tower, at least it's obvious to me. I don't know, because obviously you have Rapunzel sitting there looking at the window, so it does look like we are starting in tower territory, but I don't know how we're gonna get out of tower territory, or at least out of the main plot. So there you have the Kingdom Hearts 3 thing. This, I'm guessing, is gonna be, I talked about this in my analysis, but in Kingdom Hearts, in Kingdom Hearts 2, you ride on Pegasus during the Hydra's back situation. This is what that reminds me of. I'm pretty sure this is one of those. You have the Ariel summon, which is wonderful. If you guys know, Ariel's like my favorite Disney princess, so I was really enthusiastic about this. This is really interesting to me. So we have summons are being brought back, even though in KH2 they were kind of useless, but like, I'll live. But yeah, this actually looks like a good summon, because you kind of have this vortex of water. Like, she looks very helpful, you know what I mean? Instead of like Chicken Little and all that. Here's another screenshot of Rapunzel swinging on the tree. We did see that. We see that the hood is, obviously, what do I want to say? Customized, and this is your shortcut menu, so your fire, your potions, all of that sort of stuff is probably in there. Mike Wazowski! That's the same scene we saw in the trailer. Same thing as before. Obviously, the outside. This is the most beautiful building I have ever seen. Like, I'm not shitting you guys when I say that. Like, this has to be it looks so real. Like, it looks so much like the original movie. It's fucking terrifying. Same as from the trailer. This actually looks different because this looks like where they're about to confront Marluxia and they're behind Sora. And yeah, that's it. So that's basically all of the screenshots here. I hope that was in-depth enough for you. But there's more or less a lot, and at the same time not a lot to say, just because I think that the most compelling thing here is kind of seeing the development process, like how Rapunzel's hair is in the environment, how they've added the NPCs, you know, like all of, especially for Union Cross, I'm not too interested in just because I haven't played the game anymore, but of course there's a lot of cool development stuff here, and I think if you want to be a game designer, I guess, to an extent, this looks helpful. I don't know, like, it looks helpful to me. It's sort of like if somebody had a process of, like how to write a book. Like, I'd like to look at that, and so this is, like, how they're making Kingdom Hearts, right? Like, this is probably so important to people, to an extent, and so I think that it's really nice. And seeing, again, like this person saying, seeing the town populated makes me very happy, and I'm very glad that we are, we're doing that, and so, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I hope this, again, covered everything. This was just kind of my thoughts on everything when I kind of thought of all of the screenshots. It is interesting to see the inside of the development, especially because, like, there's lots of people that are still like, it's gonna get delayed, but, like, I don't think a Kingdom Hearts game has been delayed except for 2.8, but that was delayed just so, you know, it didn't really overlap with the Final Fantasy stuff, so even then I think it's sort of silly, and now you can kind of see, you know, like, no, we're not getting delayed, this is what we're working on, here you go. Like, I think that's very key, I guess, to the development process, and kind of telling people, like, hey, it is going to come out, don't worry. And so, yeah, that's all I kind of wanted to say for this one. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Again, thank you to Kingdom Hearts Insider for posting the screenshots. I think that it is, again, really interesting. As somebody who wanted to make games for, like, a hot minute, before I, flunked out of my coding class, I don't know, I'm really impressed by all this. Maybe not flunked. I still passed. Like, I did okay. I think that I got the equivalent, to what is a C in American grades, and then a B in, Canadian grades. So it wasn't that bad, but I was pretty miserable coding, and then I figured out that I'd rather write, and I think that is the next interesting thing I do want to see, is the writing of these worlds, because, especially with Rapunzel, like, it seems like we're sticking to the main movie, but we can't stick all the way, obviously. So, that may be, a different story. And so, I'm excited to kind of ponder how they'll actually do that. And so, that's basically all I have to say. I hope that you guys enjoyed this and it wasn't too, like, dry for you. And, we will see you later. Bye, guys.